Hello and welcome into this Monday's edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin, our co-host in the brightly coloured shirt to my right, your left. It's John C. Walsh. How you doing, John?
I'm doing brilliant, Stephen.
Yeah,
yes.
Splendid and tremendous.
Splendid and tremendous, yes.
As always.
Been a very busy day for me.
Yeah, it's been a long day, and it's probably particularly long for you because you actually stayed up for part of the Academy Awards last night. I kind of did a playback today because I had to get to my bed early.
At the beard line. I can never get my beard line right. I wish I was like one of these Indian superstars who just seems to have a perfect beard line.
Talking about Indian superstars, we will get onto that, John.
We will.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we come from the UK, if you can't tell, and obviously this was all happening when I was counting sheep, and John was probably Dead by Daylight.
I was Dead by Daylight. I was editing the thumbnail for the Citadel. I put it on an hour and 20 minutes into the ceremony, and then I put Dead by Daylight on and had that on the other screen. Yeah. Played the two.
I mean, I get that most YouTube channels that do what we do probably do it a wee bit better than us at times, more professional, because that's their jobs. I've covered this, the talk to hind legs of the Oscars, and I get that, but we're here to talk about it as well, because one thing we didn't do last year was talk about the Oscars, because we didn't do it justice. We did a thing with Gianni, and I think that's when we realised we've not seen a lot of Western films this year. We're not talking about the Oscars. I know you covered the Will Smith punching thing, John. You cannot ignore things like that. But I'm glad there was nothing like that in this case.
I didn't even know Jessica Chastain won for Best Actress last year.
I didn't know that they got the winners back to present the following year. That's the tradition. I didn't realise they did that. Yeah, so Will Smith's obviously banned for 10 years, John, but I'm sure that'll get sorted.
Well, Harrison's never won, but he presented Best Picture at the end. Yeah. And I feel that was deliberate because of his relationship with Ki Hai Kwan.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just a lovely little moment, and it just played out beautifully. Ki Hai went up, hugged him. It was just brilliant. I love that guy.
I saw Steven Spielberg in the crowd as well, looking proud of his punch.
He did, yes. He apparently says to him, "You're an Oscar winner now."
Yeah. It must be some feeling, but I watched a couple of the speeches. Very emotional as well, as they always are. Yeah, it means a lot to these actors and filmmakers.
Steve, I was getting teary-eyed. I'm not going to lie. I was getting teary-eyed when Ki Hai won. I was getting teary-eyed when Michelle Yeoh won, and she went up and she spoke about her mother. The
first Asian female to win an Oscar.
Only the second woman of colour to ever win for Best Actress in the entirety of the Oscars history.
It's phenomenal.
It's a remarkable achievement. And just her speech, for anyone out there that looks like me, this is proof that you can do it. I'm probably butchering her speech, but just beautiful from Michelle Yeoh. And we've been charting her, obviously watching her on and off her career since Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Yeah, I think that's the name of it, if I can say it. That was about 20 odd years ago. So it's just great to see these actors getting the recognition.
As John.
And the two Daniels are just wondrous. And I spoke about the editing when we actually did the watch along for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I paid particular praise to that editing process, because that movie is batshit crazy. You've got all sorts of fucking mentalism going on in there, the hot dog fingers, all the crazy outfits Stephanie Shaw's wearing in that movie. Yeah, to piece that all together and make it into the coherent vision of the actual directors, the screenwriters, that is a wondrous job that guy.
John, great writing, and I think it has to be great writing to get those kind of calibre actors on board, because that's a very hard film to explain to someone, to pitch to an actor, to say this is what we're doing.
A multiversal story where the daughter's this evil megalomaniac want to take over the world and pull everything into a bagel. Yeah, a bagel, There's going to be hot dog fingers. There's going to be an assault with several dildos. There's lots of things going on in there. Fireworks. Confetti heads. There's going to be a lot going on in this movie. But it's going to be a tight-knit, beautiful story about family. Yeah. And empathy and being kind.
That's the underlying theme.
It is. You know, and it was Ki Hai that really channeled that, wasn't it?
And it's done in a way that's simplistic in some fashion, but at the same time it's not on the nose. I think that's one of the good things about this film. And John, I'll just get back to, obviously we didn't cover the 2022 Academy Awards on our show at any point. We didn't really do anything. I think it was more time constraint than anything in terms of our predictions, which we would normally do. I think since COVID we've kind of been a wee bit ski with the shows and stuff like that. Just try to find our sort of footing again. But I think if we did go back and we did do some predictions, I think we would have got pretty much quite a few of them right, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, I predict Natu Natu. I did predict that would win for best song. I just knew that was the best song of the last year. I heard the Rihanna one. I heard the Lady Gaga one. They performed them live. Even the performance, Natu Natu, was sublime. It just confirms in my mind that I would love to go and see a proper Indian musical performance live.
Yeah.
And if it was relating into film scores and just the sort of hits like this from Triple R, I would go and watch it.
Yeah.
The instrumentalism, the singing, the performance. It wasn't Ram Charan and NTR Jr. they got up, but brilliant performance from the two stand-ins.
Yeah.
Get a huge applause. The people are loving it in the actual arena. This movie, it's been like a tour de force over the last year or so, Triple R, and it feels like Natu Natu. It was never realistically going to win in the best foreign, international, whatever it is, film category.
Yeah, the international
There's just
one,
too much competition with the likes of All Quiet and the Western Front, but Natu Natu seemed to have been the conduit.
I think they got the international one correct, in my opinion anyway. A fantastic movie, very emotional film as well, as we obviously covered on our watch-alongs. 4 parts I think we did it in. And something that obviously it was definitely something that was close to our hearts in terms of story, and obviously a keen interest obviously in both world wars, and particularly that one because it's not covered enough, and from that German perspective, which I've not seen done enough either. But I think the common theme, and I put this in one of my reviews earlier, was that that it doesn't really matter if it's from a German perspective or whatever. What it's shown you is that war, there's no winners. There's no winners in war.
War is evil. War is a meat grinder for the young generation, while the fat, wealthy generation, older generation, accumulate wealth via arms trading, via all manner of other dodgy dealings, siphoning the wealth from other countries, raping their raw materials and stuff like that. It's the young generation who are sent out, and you see that with also the Paul character, with Albert, with Tishan, I think his name is, Cat. They're all young guys, late teens, early 20s, and they all die. Yeah. Every single fucking one of them dies.
John,
nothing.
We'll talk about that film just now then. That's what we'll do. Because
I've got all these up, so I'll try and... I don't know if you want these.
I think we should have them up, because I think if you look at obviously best cinematography, we talked about the cinematography, didn't we? Yeah, it was sublime. For that, and I think it was one of the sort of things that we touched on quite a bit after watch along review or whatever it was. I don't think we actually did a separate review for it.
We did it at the end, didn't we?
So, and it was one of the big things we talked about was the cinematography. It was fantastic, and
some of the best moments were the quiet, introspective shots of scenery.
Well, the opening shot and the closing shot were similar. I think it was sunset and sunrise and sunset, as if it all happened in one day. That's what it was like.
It's not just that, Steve. It's as if it was almost showcasing the pointlessness of it all.
Yeah.
Millions of, well, maybe not millions, I don't know how many people died. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people lost their lives in this conflict.
And the world goes on.
The world goes on.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
That is,
In the grand scheme of things,
and they captured that in the cinematography, I felt.
They did, Steve. I thought, I don't actually know the name of a cinematographer, which is shocking, but I was delighted to see it win.
Yeah.
Because you look at that list of sort of nominations, no harm to Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths, Elvis, I mean, it's just a bog standard biopic, a fucking long biopic. Yeah. Very well shot. Same with Tar, it's a biopic about this sort of
I've not seen Tar yet, John.
We've not, but we know it's an eccentric composer.
It's available in Prime, so there could be a possibility we can do a watch along with that, depending on, obviously, time and stuff.
No harm to Kate Blanchett, but I was delighted Michelle Yeoh won. Kate's undoubtedly one of the best acting talents of our generation, but Michelle deserved it more than her. But Stephen, in that category, All Quiet in the Western Front is the winner.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, John. If we did the predictions thing, I think we would have got a lot of these right. Also, we touched on it, obviously, best international film as well, up against the likes of Argentina, Close, EO, and The Quiet Girl. I'm not really sure. Argentina's probably the only one I would have probably considered maybe as a contender. But
was EO the one with... I'm trying to remember what EO was. That rings a bell. I can't remember. We did something about that. I remember speaking about that. But Stephen, come on.
Yeah,
it's the standout performer. This was getting best picture buzz.
Yeah.
So in the best international film category, it's the clear winner.
Best
And
production design, John. We talked about the actual design of
trying
those.
to scurry down to that.
The design and the feel of that film, and we were thinking. I think we made a comment actually during the watch along. This feels like that period. It's a silly thing to say because that's what their aim is. That's their intent.
No, but it's the production as well, Stephen. Designing a production around no man's land and the battlefields of World War One, and then the sort of quaint little French and German towns that they're hanging around in. They've done a remarkable job of just making this movie epic, but also very human. Yeah, it did that sort of oxymoron stuff going on that you see in all the best western or best war movies.
Best western hotels.
Best All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah,
it's very human, but it's also very momentous because that's what war is. It's very human, but it's momentous.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think just there's something that I think there's sometimes. The people that it's location scouting they call it, isn't it? They're sometimes the unsung heroes because you take it for granted that these people spend a lot of time finding the exact location, the perfect location to shoot certain sequences and films and stuff like that, on obviously the direction of the director, what he's looking for, and obviously your lighting director and stuff like that, and what they're looking for, and they send these scouts out to find the appropriate locations, and I think they've absolutely nailed it, John. I think just on the subject as well, best adapted screenplay. This film has been done before, as we've talked about a few times, and it's an old novel, isn't it? It's an old.
Yeah, it was from after World War One. It was actually banned by the Nazis at the beginning of the Third Reich. They weren't happy. Shock horror, a sort of anti-war novel, because they were very much. War machine, let's roll back in, get the sort of German spirit back and take on the world again. So that flew in the face of what they were trying to do. So yeah, it's been done, Steve, and adapted 3 times. Again, I've not seen Women Talking, but literally just spoke to my mum and dad yesterday. They actually watched it. Yeah. And they have says it's very, very good. I've not seen it. Yeah. But I wasn't surprised when it got announced that was the winner, because again, you look at it, Steve, as you say, All Quiet on the Western Front has been done 3 times. Glass Onion, it's a fucking remake, it's a Netflix movie. It's meant to be good, but everyone seems to say it's not as good as the first Knives Out. Living I've not seen. Top Gun was never going to win in a screenplay, even though I thought it was a brilliant movie, one of the standout movies of last year. I really enjoyed it. Surprised me how good it was, better than the original. But Women Talking doesn't surprise me, it's a standout, because just the concept, exploring, I think it was sexual abuse against women in a sort of close-knit environment. I want to say it's like an Amish setup or something. That may not be. I may be completely wrong there, but it's something like that. And it's obviously got Frances McDormand and people like that in there. So I'm glad they gave it, because Stephen, there was a lot of stuff about male domination, a lot of male nominated films and no female directors nominated. Yeah. This was, I think, a woman who actually, funnily enough, wrote or adapted the screenplay of Women Talking. So I'm glad she picked it up. Glad she won it. And she seemed to be
I wouldn't like that to be the reasons that won.
No, I think the movie's meant to be good, to be fair. It is meant to be very good.
John, best original score obviously went to All Quiet on the Western Front as well, and this is something that we really need to talk about, because we went on a roller coaster ride.
I wanted Son Lux
with this score, and I think by the end of the film we absolutely loved it. It was so, there was, take away those sort of synth things, and there's such an emotional underlining thing going on there.
Someone did say in the comments it was an instrument from that time period. I don't know what the instrument was, but Stephen, when I watched the ceremony, every time All Quiet on the Western Front won an award, they did that.
It sticks in your head, and
it is effective. And as the movie went on, I warmed it personally. I don't know if you did as well, Steve.
John, I loved the score.
The actual main theme,
that didn't bother me. I think it was just the shock of it, to be honest with you, at the start. But I think once we get through it,
it's what it symbolised.
It was an indication of what was to come as well. When you knew when that sound was coming on, something was about to kick off.
Malevolent,
John, part of the score I loved it was the very end, when Paul died.
Fucking love it.
It was such a sad moment, obviously, but that's the score just complements the performance on screen as well.
What I love about it, the score, is the main theme. It's almost like a machine. It's very in your face, as you say, it's abrasive. But some of the quieter moments with the actual human characters, it goes back to what I say, is the human and the machine, the war machine, and the human story within. it's a reworking of that main theme.
Yeah.
And when Shadden dies, I think that's how you say his name. Obviously, he kills himself because his fucking legs mangled.
Yeah.
And when Paul dies, the quiet moments, it's like a softer reworking of that.
Yeah.
And you see that with Paul at the end when he's stationary. He's obviously passed away in the trench. You get that sort of quiet. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
The score is sublime, and it's a deserving winner. But for me, Son Lux had it was just something about Everything Everywhere All at Once. That score was as wacky as the concept, as the story, as the movie, and it had some brilliant moments. I was listening to that as well. The empathy fight stuff, really brilliant scoring from Son Lux. But can't deny All Quiet in the Western Front.
We'll go on to Everything Everywhere All at Once now. That is obviously our headline, and I said that we're quite sporadic here. We're not actually doing it structurally or anything like that. Just having a conversation about what happened last night. Obviously,
the best
Ki Kwan. I can't really. Am I saying that right?
Ki Hai Kwan.
Ki Hai Kwan. Yeah.
Lovely guy, man.
John. I mean, this guy I grew up with. I grew up with this guy,
and I'm now a huge fan of this guy.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Goonies.
Goonies, played Data, of course. Played Short Round in the Indiana Jones film Temple of Doom, and then went behind the cameras. We know the reasons for it as well. Let's not beat around the bush. We know the reasons this guy could not get work, and it's a sad state of affairs that the reason he couldn't get work. But he did not give up, and he said that in his speech. You know, if you've got a dream, never give up on your dream. I'm paraphrasing here, but it's such an emotional. And I'll be honest, I did get choked. I was very choked up watching this guy because, one, I wanted him to win the Oscar, and look at that. Who's in there with Barry Keoghan, Jude Hurst. I couldn't believe it. I went, is that Jude Hurst? I didn't even know he was nominated. Brian Terry Henry.
A phenomenal cast.
Yeah.
Phenomenal cast.
And Brendan Gleeson. These are the guys, and I think just up against these guys in a supporting role. And sometimes, maybe I'm wrong in saying this, but sometimes I think the supporting role sometimes gets overshadowed, obviously, with
but it's every bit important.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly.
Every bit is important to the ensemble performance. You've got the leading stars, but sometimes the best performance comes from the actual supporting actor. And then we'll get into it with this movie in particular. Jamie Lee Curtis was brilliant.
Yeah, bonkers.
Really
brilliant.
Good.
Yeah,
she was very, very good. By all accounts, people say done an incredible sort of campaign.
What was her name again? Her character's name? It was something so bland, wasn't it?
Fuck, I'm thinking of Evelyn Waywand.
I'm going to actually bring it up because it will annoy me unless maybe somebody in the chat can help us out here. But I'll bring that up.
Her name? But she was incredible. But the point I was making was, you think of that supporting role from Stephanie Houjeau.
Yeah, Deirdre.
Yeah. Fucking Deirdre. She didn't win.
Yeah.
Because also she was in the same category as Jamie Lee Curtis, and I understand why Jamie Lee Curtis got it, because she's playing 3-4 fucking variants of one character. Stephanie Houjeau is playing 2 variants of the same character as well, very colourful villainous term, and this sort of fragile daughter figure who's got a damaged relationship with her mother. But Stephanie Houjeau was unbelievable in that movie, and I felt so sorry for her, Stephen.
There was something, I know.
The photographs.
You brought that photograph up on.
They're all holding Oscars and she's not got one, but then there's other photos where she has got the Oscar and she's fucking celebrating. So.
They're all taking turns. Gong Gong, obviously.
Gong Gong was the grandfather.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis from the
Ki Hai Kwan, Stephen.
Yeah, John.
I mean, he was the humanity in this movie.
Again, it's you look at that list of nominees there, and I think we've got that one out as well. Just because we've spent more time watching the film
it's
this
the
time
momentum, Steve.
Yeah.
And the sort of swelling of just love and appreciation for this guy's story. The Oscars is as much about the performance as it is about the actual story of the actor.
This film came out a year ago. Almost a year ago. March 2022, I think.
Was it as far back as that?
Was it as far back as that? I remember we got a review from Dave.
It was middle of last year.
And it was round about this time, maybe about April, May, I don't know, I can't remember. But it was a long time ago, that was my point, And sometimes films I've forgotten about. The Batman came out a year ago.
That did.
And it's a well film, but I get why it's not in there, because these films that they have nominated are
the story of this movie, what it I don't know what it's championing, never say that word. Michelle Yeoh, Ki Hai Kwan coming out of the wilderness with an actor coming in, delivering a stupendous performance. Michelle Yeoh been in and around the business for 2-3 decades, if not longer. becomes only the second person colour female actor to win the Oscar. First Asian actress to win an Oscar. Certainly for best actress anyway. It's that story. That's a powerful story.
Yeah.
Going into these award ceremonies, and it's almost like I always compare it to Eurovision, where the songs sometimes are shit, but the actual story behind the nation always takes more. And I'm not saying their performances are shit. It's a terrible analogy because their performances are brilliant. They're the best in the category.
I know what you mean, yeah.
But the story of the actors themselves, it's a whole package. Ki Hai Kwan was destined to win this. He's round table discussions with the likes of Colin Farrell.
Now,
He's a brilliant guy.
Best supporting actress, John, obviously, as we said, went to Jamie Lee Curtis, but when you look who she's in amongst there, I think, and I'm not speaking for you here, I think I would have went for Angela Bassett if I was doing a prediction. I think I would have went for her. Although I loved Deirdre, and John, you knew how much I felt about this character. Every time she's been on screen, that unhinged performance from Jamie Lee Curtis, I loved it. I loved every moment she's in it.
It was the nuance. I'm now starting to come round to the notion of her winning again over Stephanie Hijau. For me, I would have actually picked one of Stephanie Hijau. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, or Jamie Lee Curtis, because I felt they were the two best in the category. Bassett was brilliant, but I did say when we did the watch along with Wakanda Forever, she's still not really. Half the movie she's not in there.
Yeah.
I mean, she was good.
That's what I felt though. See, after watching Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and I thought, she's only in half a movie, and she's been nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting. She must be really good in this film.
And she was, to be fair, she was. You know. Hong Chau's at the... she's in the whale, is that? It's not the daughter. Is that the sort of aide?
I think it's the one that,
it's helping him out.
Yeah.
I've not seen that movie yet, we'll get into that.
The daughter's, I always forget her name. It's like two... I have to check it out actually because it's going to annoy me.
The reason I've not seen The Whale yet is simply, and we'll get into that because we're going to speak about Brendan Fraser winning. Fucking delighted for the guy. I was over the moon when he won. Really
Sadie Sink is his daughter.
Sadie Sink. The reason I've not watched The Whale yet is that, to me, it strikes me as a movie like The Father.
Yeah.
Where you have to be emotionally in the right place to watch it. It seems like it could zap you of energy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not in the place where I watch that movie. So when I get to that point, I'll watch the movie. I'm sure Brendan is sublime. He's one of the best.
John, I watched Limmy's review of The Whale.
And he's usually on.
I mean, he's always, but he didn't fancy it too much. He felt the emotional scenes were too overly played and over dramatic every time.
What, trust London?
But John,
London's a director in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, but he doesn't strike me as the type of guy that gets emotional that often in films anyway. I don't know, maybe it's just a persona that we see, but I've watched a lot of his reviews. I like a lot of his reviews. He's a very honest person. It's his opinion at the end of the day.
And he loves film.
Yeah, he does. He knows film well. But I have to disagree with him in that sense. I felt they got the balance right with it. You knew what you were going into when you go and see that film in terms of emotional performance. So you can't really say they overly did it. I don't believe that for a minute. Yeah,
it's about this guy in his life, his relationship, and just the complications in his life. And also his sheer size.
Yeah.
And what you can't deny Brendan Fraser's dedication to the role. He put that suit on, it was weighted. He lived that character. Yeah. And it was a transformative performance. So I'm absolutely... I suppose we could speak about that just now, Stephen. Best
might as well, yeah.
Delighted for the guy, really.
Yeah.
I was disappointed for Austin Butler because I respect him and the performance he gave for Elvis, dedicated 2-3 years of his life to it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, as I says, with Ki Hai Kwan and Michelle Yeoh, it's almost about the story. And much like Ki Hai Kwan, out in the wilderness for better part of 2 decades, comes back in, given this chance, delivers an epic performance. By all accounts, I've not seen Brendan's. And the story almost just carries him to that win. I'm not saying the performance isn't there as well, but it's the all-round package. Yeah. And just seeing him with an Oscar in his hand was a real epic moment. I'm so happy for the guy. And his speech was great. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, there's parallels between him and Best Male Supporting Actor as well in terms of their careers. And I think, in the wilderness for 2 decades, I think, obviously, I'm blanking on the name right away.
Ki Hai Kwan?
Ki Hai Kwan, yeah. I don't know, I've struggled with his name. I don't know why, John. Because I know the guy from years ago, but he used to go under the
I'm
a
the same
different
as
name.
Sean Astin.
He used to go under the name of I can't remember it. He used
Was
to
it
have
not like fucking John or something?
Jonathan, yeah,
Jonathan
Kwan or something like that, and that's how I knew him. So I struggle obviously
Jonathan
with
Kwan.
his proper name. And when I watched Brendan's speech, and he was so humble, and I think he was very complimentary towards Austin Butler, Colin Farrell, Paul Mescal, and Bill Nighy.
Steve, I couldn't believe how many Irish people were nominated for an Oscar. Paul Mescal, Brendan Gleeson, Colin Farrell, the girl Kerry Condon, I think it was
Condon,
from Banshees of Inisherin. 4 fucking actors from Ireland.
John, you've seen this film. I've not seen the film, so
Banshees of Inisherin.
You know the reason for that.
Great. Mark McDonagh's a brilliant director. He's just sublime. I've loved every single movie the guy's done. He's just got a wackiness, a uniqueness about his storytelling. And when you get Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell together, magic happens. It's a sublime movie. Barry Keegan's one of the best young actors of his generation. Just a brilliant story, fucking hilarious, and just brilliant and touching. Just a great movie. I'm not surprised to see them get nominated. Hello, Scottish Midge. Welcome in, Matthew.
Hello.
Welcome in.
Hello there.
Where were we though, Steve? We're talking about Brendan Fraser, weren't we?
The Whale, yeah.
Yeah, the Whale. I mean, I've not seen the Whale, but I'm delighted for Brendan. He was my choice.
Yeah.
I think he was
I think on a
everyone's choice.
personal level though, wasn't he?
I mean, I've seen in Encino Man, I think it was called, what was it called over here?
California Man.
California Man. That was my first interaction with him. Loved the Mummy growing up. So I've always been a fan of him, big, larger than life.
Yeah, I mean, George of the Jungle stands out. Obviously,
well,
Airheads with Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi. What was the one he did? He was in the Fallout shelter. Christopher Walken was his dad. Blast from the Past, I think it's called.
Christopher Walken was his dad.
Yeah, it's a really good film, by the way. You really need to check this out. And obviously he did the Bedazzled one with Elizabeth Hurley from the early 2000s, in between the Mummy films. And then I think
totally different person.
I think he had a bad accident in his back during the filming of the Curse of the Mummy, the 3rd instalment, the not very good one.
Yeah. And
I think after that, things just unravelled. I know there's been sort of things that have been happening in the sort of personal life in Hollywood, and sort of dark underbelly of society and stuff like that. I don't really know what's true. I don't really want to get into it. He
did boycott the Golden Globes, didn't he? So yeah.
I don't really know obviously the ins and outs of what happened there, but I do love the guy. I think he's just an honest, down to earth actor, and it's a very rare thing. It's going to be very interesting to see where he goes next, what his next project's going to be. Is this a second one for his career, or is he just going to end it in a high and retire?
I
hope not as well, but you never know.
He's a good guy to have around, just a round table, just get a really interesting
life. He was in Crash as well, from 2004.
Crash was great. I love Crash.
Yeah.
I really did. Was that the one where it was all different lives interjected?
Yeah.
And it was a car crash.
Yeah.
That was
Matt Dillon. Yeah,
racist cop.
He was a racist cop. Yeah.
I fucking love that movie.
It was very emotional.
It was really,
The bit where the car was overturned and he's putting his hand into.
A black lady with Crash. She was one of the other characters, and he overcame his sort of backward racism.
Yep.
Seen the light of day and realised we're all human.
Yeah, it was a good film,
brilliant movie. I hope he has a second wind. I hope he goes on.
I hope so.
It's like another sort of reconnaissance. Matthew McConaughey. But Stephen, obviously there was all
Best Director.
Best Director. I think that was won by the two Daniels, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I can't find it for the love of me or anything really, for the life of me, is what I was trying to say there. Where the fuck is Best Director?
It's there.
Best Director. The two Daniels deserved it, didn't they? I mean, you can go through that list and say realistically they all deserved it. Mark McLaughlin was incredible, Vanishing with Shane, I just Max Welton, his career. Fucking love him.
That one would have been a hard one, I think, to really get right, because we thought maybe. I've not seen Tar yet, so I can't comment on that. Obviously, Triangle of Sadness, I've not seen that. But you look at the Fabelmans, Spielberg, as you say, Martin McDonagh.
His childhood.
It's just you're thinking. I can't really separate the two, to be honest with you.
The two Daniels deserve it for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Taking that concept and making it work was just outrageous. Having the balls to take that to a studio, I think
that
it was
from
A24.
A piece of paper. Yeah, John, that was the thing. Yeah, it's A24. That's the thing I was going to say as well. When you think about it, A24 have done really well in this year's Oscars.
They always do well.
With obviously this film, Everywhere All at Once, and obviously The Whale.
Yeah. They always do well. They're just a brilliant studio, and that's why I was really disappointed when there was talk of them selling up. because you need that independent.
Was the Northman?
Northman was A24 as well. Fucking brilliant movie. Loved it. That didn't even get a sniff of anything.
Yeah, but it shows the strength of this year's nominations run. There's a lot of films that I loved about the year that are just not there. Just nowhere to be seen.
Scottish Midget Trebles, it's done, mate. It's not one. It's done. We speak about that in past tense. That's
John,
fun.
Best Actress, just staying on everything, everywhere all at once. Obviously, Michelle Yeoh. You mentioned it, John. The last 20 years she's going on the screens, film and web series is out for now.
No, I can't believe Stephen. Sorry for cutting. He says during our walk up to the stage to get the award, despite all the brilliant stuff she does, cinematography and stuff, she's not trained in any martial arts. I thought she was. I thought she was an actual martial artist, but apparently not. She's a unit.
But I mean, it goes to show, I mean, you see, she's been in quite a few films that martial arts.
You may want to think
I
that.
probably will, John, so I'll shut up just now and I can let you talk just now while I disconnect myself.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, Jimmy, we've not even spoken incidentally, what a fucking job he did as the host. Just brilliant. There's something about Jimmy, his dry wit. He was sublime. Moments with donkeys, he comes in a fucking harness, sort of play off of Top Gun Maverick. His monologue was brilliant. Little digs at the insurrection event just prior to Joe Biden's election, the sort of inauguration. Jimmy doing it the way Jimmy always does it, but he referenced the slap that was heard around the world, obviously Chris Rock, Will Smith, and he says, well, if you want to do anything with me, you have to get by, and I've got the heavyweight champ. It goes to Michael B. Jordan. I think he went to Spielberg for sure, and he did a little eyebrow raise. He went to Michelle Yeoh and she did like a fist, or not a fist, a sort of arm curl. Fucking deltoids on her, unbelievable, man. She is in good shape, very good shape. So
I've always liked her, John. I've always thought, just even away from the sort of action things, just a great screen presence, a very experienced actor, seen on numerous films, always a standout, and I was very surprised that this was her first. Actually, I obviously went back after this and went, I want to know who's won the most Academy Awards as an actor. Katharine Hepburn has won 4, Daniel Day-Lewis 3, Meryl Streep 3. There's a whole host that are hitting that sort of 3 mark. And I was very surprised to see Michelle Yeoh wasn't even there at all, when you consider some of her performances over the last 20 years. Yeah,
but Stephen, I think that probably speaks more to sort of the politics of the Academy and campaigning and trying to get your name in there, even if you've.
Did you say Harrison Ford presented one?
Harrison Ford presented Best Picture.
So he's never won one, hasn't he?
He's never won one. He's an Academy Award nominee because he says that at one point.
Yeah.
But I think he deliberately positioned him. I did say just because of his relationship with Key High.
Yeah, it was a good touch. Yeah.
And we've always spoke about Harrison. He never forgets anybody, despite the career he's had. He's been one of the best of his generation. Yeah. He remembers people like Peter Mayhew, who were realistically they were fucking like costume wearers on the set.
Yeah.
He spoke really highly of him when he passed away, and that speaks volumes about the individual.
He was quite emotional about that, as I recall. Yeah.
He's a really great human being, man. He remembers everyone, and obviously he's not forgotten Key High. I don't think anybody has in the industry. The likes of Spielberg apparently gave him a Christmas card every year, phoned him, spoke to him. So it's great to see them positioning him, and he had that moment. Obviously Key High went up and hugged him. Yeah. He was right up there. And just seeing them embracing it was a brilliant moment. It really was. And we've seen some stupid shit going on with the Oscars over the years. Slapping and
getting things wrong.
The mix up with Moonlight and fucking La La Land.
Yeah.
And it's just a shambles. I thought the whole ceremony was great. The singing, the performances were brilliant. The awards went to the right people.
John, we'll talk about that now. We'll talk about obviously music numbers.
Yeah.
And Triple R.
Triple R deserved it.
You watched obviously the performance, the
phenomenal.
Paying homage to the film. It wasn't
great
obviously
singing,
using the footage from the film or the actors, but
no, they were on stage. Yeah,
they obviously done a good job. And I've not seen it yet, but if you hadn't seen that, we could have done a reaction.
They were at the monologue. They were in the monologue as well. They did a bit with Kimmel.
Right,
he basically says, "We're not going to play you off if you overdo your speeches. We'll just get." And they came on and did the dance, and they forced them off the stage. But just what a performance from the two singers. I think it was two singers. It was sort of backing dancers. It wasn't Ram Charan, as I says, and NTR Jr., but it was two sort of brilliant dancers who stood in for them. And just the performance was sublime. It got the whole room alive. People were up, cheering, really enjoying the performance. Stephen, I loved it. And it really kicked in. And they were doing that sort of like bit with the two of them going in the front. I can't dance for shit, so I can't do it. Just brilliant. This deserved to win the best original song. I've been calling it for the last year since we've seen Triple R.
Even before we knew the nominations, John.
I hadn't even been nominated, and I says that's the best song
Yeah.
of the last year in a film.
And I'll be honest with you, when I look at This Is a Life, don't recall it. Lift Me Up, don't recall it. Hold My Hand, I've not seen it.
Lift Me Up, I think, was sung in the end credits of Black Panther. I don't think it was in the actual movie.
And Applause. I'm not really familiar with those ones, but
you can't forget Natu Natu.
no, it's just one of those. What do you call that? It's like a worm in your
Earworm.
yeah.
No, it's just brilliant, and it's just even it's what it meant to the movie as well. It was just them facing off the obnoxiousness of that little English dwerp. That's what I'm going to call him. It's probably just made that word up. Dickwad. Twerp. I've just combined two words. A dork and a twerp. A dwerp. Because that's what he is. You can't just use one word to describe that little shithead.
Who's this?
Little English guy. In Triple R.
Right, yeah.
He's like saying you have no culture. I do this. I can do the flamenco. I can do this. Well, we can do this, fucker. Can you? No, you can't. Bugger off. Just the whole thing, man, just brilliantly put together in terms of the actual award ceremony, the movie, the song itself. Delighted it won. And Stephen, I was going to actually do a separate thing in the show about this, but I suppose we can just speak about it here.
I think so, yeah.
This is a big moment for Indian cinema in the West. I mean, they don't need validation from us by any means. They've got their own thing going on over on the subcontinent. It's very successful. And the actors are doing their thing. They're brilliant. We've tapped into it and watched a lot of films and TV. Some top class stuff getting done over there. They don't need us to come in and give them a pat in the head, but this is a breakthrough moment with Triple R, at least, coming into the Western spheres and getting real buzz recognition. It's won the Globes, it's won BAFTAs, it's now won a fucking Academy Award. And I think the documentary, that was actually an Indian documentary as well, if I'm not wrong. The Elephant Whisperers, that was another Indian documentary. So this is a big moment for sort of Indian content making a breakthrough in the West, and it's thoroughly deserved. This is going to open doors for the likes of SS Rajamouli now. They can potentially come over and do maybe a hybrid.
I think they were always going to do that anyway, weren't they? Just with the buzz of the film, not just obviously the original song that won the award, but just in terms of the love for it more than anything. I think the love for SS Rajamouli. People know how talented this guy is. How he can pull off such a energetic film and keep that energy going for 3 hours or over 3 hours is incredible. And what a story as well.
Multifaceted.
Obviously from your main two actors as well, but your supporting cast, a very strong supporting cast.
Actors,
apart from obviously the villains, which were pretty weak, that wasn't the point of the film anyway. They were there just to serve the story and move the story along.
The water, wasn't it? The two sort of unlikely individuals from different walks
I mean, they
of
could have
life
got a better villain in, and it might have took it on to another level, but it is what it is. It was a great film, a great experience to watch that film as well. I'm just surprised on a technical level it didn't get more awards or nominations on the technical level. Perhaps maybe is it costume design. I thought a lot of the costume design in Triple R was fantastic. And we watched the very first teaser for this film.
Amaraju for Beam for Amaraju.
You know, we have went through the whole experience with everyone who's interested in Indian film at the same time, and it's been a great experience seeing your motion posters and, as you said, John, the two variations of these trailers as well, and then the official trailer. The first time we watched those introductory trailers, I thought, this is sublime. Yeah. But the visuals, we were getting visually. The fucking motion poster with Ajay Devgan's character and the rifles. It sort of drops and it focuses on him. I'm like, this is unreal. On a technical level, this movie is sublime. There's something about Rajamouli, his process of making film. It's just the 240 frame per second slow-mo stuff. Technical, just the shots, visuals, fucking CGI, everything. The performances he gets as well. Agabati Bahubali, get Balala Deva, you've got Mahendra
Bahubali, the other Bahubali as well. You've got fucking Prabhas, you've got Rana Dagabati. I always forget the actress's name who played the mother. Just incredible performances he gets in these epic movies. It's like a callback to fucking Charlton Heston.
But I think as well, John, yeah, it definitely is. They're epic and period dramas almost.
And I love those movies because I grew up with my grandfather watching them. So,
but I think his films are either get them or you don't, because we know that there's a few very well known YouTubers out there that couldn't even sit through the first half hour. I would say, and we've been very honest with this in terms of Bahubali, the beginning, it did take that conditioning to sort of get that in your head that this is fantasy, action fantasy, and once you get that, wow, you really enjoy it.
You know, it's just, again, it's about not being a snob and being pretentious. You just go in and you consume the movie in its rawest, purest form. What is a film? It's escapism.
Yeah.
It's a form of entertainment. And no one can go and watch a Rajamouli movie and say they've come out and they're not entertained. It's like fucking Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Are you not entertained? Well, there's no decapitations that I'm aware of, but you can't not be entertained by a Rajamouli movie, and nobody can realistically watch RRR start to finish and not say it wasn't entertaining. It fucking deserved that original song. It deserved more.
It did, yeah.
It was definitely a brilliant movie, man. I'm delighted to see it get recognition, Steve. And I think that the only other one that realistically is worth talking about. I mean, they're all worth talking about.
I think so, yeah. I mean, editing and stuff like that. But we kind of covered that, obviously,
that, I mean,
with
that was
everything everywhere.
He deserved that because it was brilliant editing that movie together. I mean, Steve, we spoke about Star Wars in the last couple of weeks. The editing's so important for a movie. That's what makes the movie.
Make a break, yeah.
I mean, you can direct and you can get performances. You can do all the fancy shit with the visual effects and just the shots in general.
If the flow of that film doesn't work,
then it falls in its arse.
Yeah.
It's the editor who makes it.
Yeah.
And this guy worked utter magic.
Yeah.
So he deserved it. But best animated, visual effects, Avatar won. And I was glad for James Cameron.
Yeah.
Because he poured blood, sweat and tears, dedicated years and years and years, left it nearly a decade until the effects were at the level required. And having gone and seen that in the theatres, that's one of the greatest technical movies I've ever seen in my life. It was just unbelievable what he accomplished.
I'm looking at obviously what it was up against, and it's a foregone conclusion really when you look at it. The Batman was dark and gritty. In terms of visual effects, it's nothing we've not seen before. In terms of anything like The Dark Knight or anything like that, all quiet in the Western Front.
Subtler than Avatar though.
Yeah.
Like removing things out of shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with Avatar, it's just...
John, you remember when we watched the trailer, the full trailer?
Yeah.
Just everything about it, the water and everything, just look at that. It's absolutely stunning.
It was the way that he animated in the water. I mean,
shadows, everything.
It was filmed in water. Huge tanks.
Yeah.
I think the likes of Kate Winslet, I think she was in this, wasn't she? And the actors, they were holding their breath for like 8 minutes underwater while performing. Yeah. And combining that with the sort of mocap and performances, just how they made it work, it was fucking unreal.
That is
unbelievable.
It really is.
So I'm glad that did win. It deserved it.
Yeah.
Disappointed the Batman didn't get anything, because I did think that it was a brilliant movie from Todd Phillips, but I think that's a victim of timing. Timing is so important. If you're not an All Quiet in the Western Front who is portraying a sort of really important message in a time when there's war in continental Europe, then you really do have to work fucking a lot harder if you're releasing it earlier in a calendar year to get it.
Yeah.
Some buzz, to get momentum. If you're not Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is just a brilliant movie first and foremost, but the story surrounding the actors, then you do have to work harder.
Yeah.
And sadly they didn't work hard enough to promote the movie. And ultimately I think when you go through the categories, as I did say, you can't really argue much with any of them. They all did. I've not watched a single fucking animated movie this year, so I can't speak about animated. But you can't really argue with most of them. Black Panther, I think they flung it a bone with costume design. I thought the costume designs were okay.
Yeah.
There was some interesting stuff going on. But I mean, you look at Everything Everywhere All at Once, Stephanie Hajot alone deserved that costume design award. They should have gave it personally to her, because of all of those crazy wacky costumes she was wearing. So that's maybe the only one I'd slightly disagree with. But
yeah, possibly, yeah.
I think they got it right, man.
I think as well. I think it was a good spread as well. I know obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once won the most, but there's a lot of words splashed around there, and I think it's a good balance. It really is, and I think we did well to watch so many of these films as well, which helps. especially when you want to do a show. So it was a great event. I've still got a lot more to watch, John. Obviously, the musical performance, I want to see Triple R performance. I really look forward to seeing that.
I mean, Rihanna came on. To be fair, I think she's pregnant, so I mean, it was a decent performance, but not the best song for me.
No.
Lady Gaga is just doing what Lady Gaga does. It's like fucking over the top wailing. Really reined in for her, I have to say. There was someone in the crowd with a veil on, blocking half of the fucking venue. If I was behind her, I would have been raging. I'd have been fucking ripping that off her and saying, get that off, I want to see this. I'm at the Oscars.
Yeah.
You inconsiderate fucker. You're not thinking about me. But the performances were alright. But Stephen, I thought the show itself was great. It was long, and Kimmel poked fun at the length. I think he says at the end, just in time for Good Morning America. I'll be on later on today. He was taking the piss about the length of time. I just thought having the host was there, it was on point. No harm to Chris Rock, but Kimmel just knows what he's doing. He knows how to work a room.
Yeah.
And his monologues are just tight because he does it on a nightly basis with his show.
That,
Thought he was on it. I thought the show was brilliant. The awards were bang on. Even the fucking speeches were bang on. Although I did laugh at one. There was one, I think it was the Elephant Whisperer.
Right, okay.
The main sort of obviously director of the documentary, two Indian ladies up, she delivered a brilliant rousing speech, and then the other person came in afterwards and started speaking. They just cut her off.
Wow.
It was like silent,
so
it was like music, but she was talking and like raising the Oscar. You couldn't hear her. I'm like, fucking hell. And they never did it for anybody else on the night. There was multiple people coming up, and the second person was being allowed time to speak. I'm like, look at this fucking woman, you've just cut her off. Terrible.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'd say. That was a bit fucking harsh.
Get it sorted
out. But I really enjoyed it, man. It's not often that I get to enjoy the Oscars because either I've not seen
it's just the time of night,
most of the movies, or this is the first time I've seen the whole show.
Yeah.
And I've went after the show before I went to my bed.
The after show party.
Seen the after show party. I'm often sleeping halfway through. I mind the last time I tried to watch an Oscars, I was falling asleep halfway through.
It couldn't have been good then.
No, it's just me. I've got worse and worse. I'm getting later and later and later. It's going to get to the point where I will be able to just fucking go through the whole day. There will be no sleeping. So I enjoyed it, man. That's what I'm saying. I really did enjoy it. But have we got anything else to say?
No, I think we're done and dusted.
We're done and dusted.
I think we covered that quite well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know how long, 50 minutes.
Yeah, no script, folks.
No script, just going with the flow.
Yeah.
And thank you to the two people who came in. Scottish Midge, that's my uncle, incidentally. He's in the chat. He's talking out. He thankfully told us the hissing sound was in the background, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Lerat, that's an in-joke. And he's going on about trebles, that's football chat. And there was a draw done tonight. But we'll not speak about that, it's a movie news show. I'm just looking at myself as well, Steve, and I thought I'd brought back the ghosts of 2 Christmas back. But no, it's alright. It's just like redness.
That was incredible.
I haven't back and watched that recently. They're still there.
Yeah.
Oh
they
my
need to
days.
go. They need
so
to go.
skinny. I am so unbelievably fucking gaunt. My eyes bulging out my head.
That was
I'm like a fucking skeleton.
That was the Christmas of 2021.
That was one of the most forgettable Christmases. Was it 2021? Yeah, it was 2021. Yeah. Fucking dreadful. Dreadful time for me. Not a good time. I was back looking at images of that the other day. Or fucking today. Looking at images. Not a good time for me. I thought you could argue there's not a good time for me ever, but that certainly wasn't a good time for me. But look, I digress. That's neither here nor there. Thanks for the comments we've got. What's your thoughts on the Oscars though? 2023. What did you make about the winners? What did you make of Everything Everywhere All at Once? Cleaning up 7 Academy Awards, 1 on the night. All Quiet on the Western Front, I think, was the second highest winner, 4. Maybe you're a fan of Triple R, S.H. Rajamouli. What did you make of Natu Natu winning Best Original Song? If you've got anything to say about the winners, the losers, our discussion in general, you can comment down below. That's the place to share your thoughts in the comments section. 5'9", Scottish Midge. What the fuck are you talking about? Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do the same thing over on Twitch, follow button, notifications button over there to see us over there doing my thing as well. All that's left to be said is thank you once again for watching us. Until next time, me and Steve are done. Bye bye. I'm going to address Scottish Midge, you're not 5'9", mate. You want me to tell you how you're not 5'9"? Because I'm fucking much taller than you, mate. So there's something wrong there. You're 5'7". You need to realise that. Come to terms with it. Get into your whiskey. Bye bye.